Howdy folks, in this video we're going to talk a little bit about paragraphs. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so paragraphs are the part of your web page that display most of your content. So for example, let's say we're talking about a book. Okay, your headings would be the name of the chapter, and then your paragraph would be the chapter itself, all the content within. Think of it that way. All right, so what I have right in front of me here is the HTML template that we've been working from, and then what I need to do is I'm going to create a new file, a new web page. I'm going to call it sample paragraphs, and I'm just going to copy and paste the text out of my template to make that new file. Then we're going to play around with it a little bit here. I'm going to call this one sample paragraph. Okay. Change the title to sample paragraph as well. Okay. Do a paragraph. All you have to do is type in an open p tag, whatever content you want to put in there. I'm just going to type in something silly like this is an awesome paragraph, and then put in a closing p tag. Just like so. All right, let's go ahead and save this file again, and then we'll go and we're going to open up our web browser and go launch it real quick. And here's what you'll see as a paragraph. All right, so anyways, that's a paragraph. And the next thing that I'm going to show you in this video that kind of goes along with paragraphs is a line break. Okay, so what we have here is that I have right here is just a simple paragraph that's all on one line. It's just one line of text. But let's say I want to make a paragraph that has 5 lines of text. Here's the easiest way to do this. Let's say I'm going to make a paragraph that has 3 lines of text. First thing I'm going to do is do an open paragraph. Then, immediately after that, I'm going to type in my first line, and then I'm going to type in what's called a line break. And that's simply just a BR tag. Now, the BR tag, or the break tag, is what they call a single tag. It doesn't have an open and close tag. It just has one tag, BR. Okay? That's all you need to type if you need to type a line break. Then on the next line down, on the far left side, we don't want any spaces here. Okay, just hit enter or return depending on your keyboard, and then type in your second line. Type in another line break. That's going to give you another extra return basically. Then type in line 3. And then, without any spaces, close out your paragraph. Okay? Because if you put something like, for example, return and then close parent, it's going to treat that in HTML when it goes to render the page as an empty space, which is not what we want to do. So remember, right at the end of your content, close out your paragraph. So when I save this and I go to take a look at it, I should see 3 different lines. Each line says whatever line it is. Okay? Line 1, line 2, line 3. Just like that. Okay? That's called a line break. Okay. The last thing we have is what's called the pre-element, or pre-formatted text. All right, so with code, for example, what we're doing here is I have to, when I type in line 1, break, line 2, break, and then line 3, if I use pre-formatted text or the pre-tag, I don't have to put in those breaks. Now, we'll tell you that this is not the standard way to do things in HTML. In general, we don't use pre-formatted text, but there might be some instances where that becomes necessary. So your preferred method of having text on different lines is to use a break. Okay, but you can also use pre-formatted text. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put in a heading that just says pre-formatted text, just so we know where we're at. And then I'm going to type in what's called the pre-tag. Okay, P-R-E. Now immediately after that pre-tag, if you want to print something out that starts right on the beginning of that line after the H2 heading, then you would just type in pre and then type in whatever it is you want. But let's say I want another line in 2 spaces. Then I just hit return 2 spaces, and then I'm going to say line 1, I'm going to say, and then line 2, and line 3. Now my text editor, what it does is it actually, if I have a couple of indentations like what we saw there, the next one's down, it'll line up. So it may or may not do that for your editor, depending on what you're using. If you're using Notepad Plus in Windows, it may not do that. Okay, and then to close it out, we do a closing pre-tag. I'm going to save my file, and now I'm going to go look at it again. What you'll see with pre-formatted text is 2 things that happen. One, there are 2 empty spaces and then the content for each line. Okay, that's what we're seeing here. The other thing is that we use the default font basically I believe for the operating system itself. And what it does is it strips out any styling, any built-in styling like what we see up here. So what you're getting is this kind of, plain Jane bland font. Okay. That's why we typically will not use pre-formatted text, but you do need to see what it looks like. Okay, so again, looking at tags. First tag that we covered was P. That's paragraph. To use a paragraph, before you start the paragraph, you put in a P tag, an open P tag, or a start P tag. Type in what it is you want to say, and then after you're done with your content, close out that P tag. If you have multiple lines, you need to use a line break. That's the BR tag. You put the BR tag immediately before you go to the next line, because if you have any empty spaces in there at all after your content and before BR, like say like this, it's going to treat that as an empty space with the web browser, and we don't want that. And then finally, the last thing that we have is pre-formatted text. And I showed this to you because it's part of your course, but it's not something that we use very often, so try to stay away from it. All right, well, that concludes this video, and actually the videos for this week. So you guys have a great day, and let me know if you have any questions.